I'm about to say the 4 scariest words I think any writer ever says. I'm writing a novel. So I actually have 2 novels I want to write, and I have 2 children's books I've already written. I've sent one out for submission just once, and what I've found, I feel like, is really common with a lot of writers. We have all these stories inside of us that we want to tell, and we get hung up on like the logistics of publication. I decided to just make it really simple. I heard a writer say, just write the crappy version first. So I'm gonna start with one novel and I'm gonna finish it. And I've given myself about 6 months. So my goal date is have the first crappy copy, submittable copy, ready to go out on March 1st, 2027. That is my goal. That's what I'm gonna be documenting here. We're gonna do weekly write with me's. I'll probably post 2 a week, and then Vlogmas. I'm imagining we're gonna go all out writing time. If you are someone who has been wanting to write a novel, even a poem, essay, like film script, whatever, let's lock in. Let's just do it. Let's finish 2026 with half of that project that you've been wanting to do for potentially decades in the books. Let's just get it done. I'm not gonna put a lot of pressure on myself for this thing to be like some huge success, because honestly, that's stopped me in the past. I've written a lot and got distracted by what it could be instead of just focusing on making it something amazing, because as writers, as creatives, we have a lot of external and internal pressure for it to like be, I'm just gonna write the story that's inside of me, and I'm gonna do my darndest and hold me accountable to stay focused on one for this 6-month duration. And so I've given myself a blueprint. I have decided to look at writing like construction. I have a blueprint, I'm gonna follow the blueprint, and if there are added scope items along the way, we will address them, but we will be sticking to the contracted scope. I just want to give you guys a framework for what I'm doing over the next 6.5-ish months. Today is August 9th. I'm going to be sending this video out live probably this coming Wednesday. So you guys will see it this week. But we're going to do a write with me. This is what we're doing over here. Drop your comments, drop your struggles, anywhere you're frustrated in your own process, and we can work those out together. Just some background. I went to undergrad. My undergrad was creative writing and film. And I've read the books, I've done the things, I've had the internships, and I just get stuck in my own creative process. Or I have been up until this point. We're doing it. So my blueprint is for this novel. I'm gonna focus on the first 10% of my book being the opening. This is the entry to the world. The next 5%-ish will be establishing the setup or plot setup. And then up until about the first quarter of the book, that's where I'm gonna introduce or establish the complication. 25% to like 40-ish% of the book, in that range, that will be further plot development, further character development into the meat of the story and our characters. And then at the 45% to 50%, this is the establishing midpoint. And this is really important for me to get right. This is a place where I put a lot of pressure on myself and has stopped me before. I feel like this is the part where we stop, because the adrenaline, the excitement has worn off, and now this is the point where you can tell between a good book and a not so good book, because this is where we stop. We're like, I'm not really interested in finishing that story. I'm just gonna bulldoze through. We're gonna keep going. That's gonna be my midpoint, and then 50% to 70% is my escalation. 70 to 85% is your crisis. At the 85 to 95%, in that really juicy part of the book, that's when we have the big climax, and then we get that last bit of the book for our emotional payoff, for the resolution, and for whatever leads into potential next books. So if you want to borrow that, I'll drop that in the description, just kind of the makeup for what I'm doing. But I also want to look at this project as giving myself space to be fully present in each moment. Before we get started with today's Write With Me, grab yourself a cup of tea, grab yourself a coffee, do whatever you need to do to set yourself up in your peaceful time, and just let the pressure off. This first entry into writing the novel, this is like the dream time, so I'm giving myself a time limit on that. I'm gonna dream about the plot and the storyline, and then we'll get into the execution of each section of the novels, And I'm not going to get hung up on any specific part. I'm just going to write, and that's what editors are for. Not to be so blasé, but yeah, I'm going to just write and not edit while I'm writing. If that's something you've struggled with, please drop a comment and let me know I'm not the only person who has struggled with that. So yeah, I just want to encourage you. We're taking the pressure off. We're just getting this story out, because like Maya Angelou said, one of the saddest things we could do, or the saddest things that people do, is just die with stories inside of them. And I do not want that. It is my goal to get these stories out. I don't care however good or bad they are, I'm going to just get them out and let them story their story life away. So let's get into it.